Hello, Gilbert Tigers and family and community. I'm so excited because it's October and there's so many wonderful things happening in October, but the one thing you may not know about is it's National Principals Month. This is the month that we need to celebrate our leaders, and I'm excited for you to take a look of our serious side of our principals and a little bit of the fun side too. Check it out.
I am Stacy Edwards. I am the Pre-K2 principal here at Gilbert Elementary. This is my 14th year at Gilbert. Previously to coming to Gilbert, I had been the elementary principal in Avoca, a small district HST in western Iowa, and then I had taught in eastern Iowa. I have two children who are now graduated from Gilbert and gainfully employed. And my husband Bruce and I live on an acreage outside of Ames.
Hi, I'm Amy Griffin, principal at the intermediate school in Gilbert. This is my 11th year in Gilbert. And prior to Gilbert, I was a teacher at Webster City Middle School and then a teacher at Fort Dodge Middle School, where I then was assistant principal for 3 years before getting to come to Gilbert. My husband Pat and I have two children, Mason, who is a freshman, and Mallory, who is in 5th grade.
Hi, I'm Mike Danielson. I'm the middle school principal for Gilbert. This is my 19th year at Gilbert. This is my 6th year as a middle school principal. Prior to coming to Gilbert, I taught PE and health for a little district named Woodward Granger. My wife Christy also teaches for Gilbert, and I have a son Jacob who's a senior and a daughter Maggie who's a freshman this year.
My name is Cindy Bassett. I am high school principal here in Gilbert, and my family, my husband and I, we have 3 kids, 2 girls and a little guy, and they're here in Gilbert as well. Before moving into the principal position, I had the privilege of being assistant principal here at Gilbert High School, and prior to that I was at Dallas Center Grimes for 6 years. I taught at Marshalltown before that, and I started my teaching career down in the Phoenix area. My teaching background is social studies. I had graduated from University of Northern Iowa with a major in secondary social studies, and then my master's is from Drake University.
I'm John Ronca, and I am the seasoned veteran, as many know. Started my career way back in 1988-89 at Ballard Schools, teaching and coaching. A few years later, married Lisa Parman, who's now Lisa Ronca, and teaches at Ballard to this day. Spent a lot of years at Ballard, 22 as principal, 10 years as a teacher coach. Have 2 kids, Tyler and Brianne Ronca, who are both in Chicago. So yeah, now after leaving Ballard and retiring June of last year, I'm thinking I'm just going to be wafting out in the sunset and just chilling, and did some indoor painting and stuff like that, and then I got a call from Vic Vanderpool, and he was moving up to HR and said that he could use some help, that Cindy Bassett was the assistant principal, she was going to be interim principal, could I come and help for the spring, which I gladly did. And it took me about 3 short weeks to realize this place is something special. And I think they decided and we decided together that why not come back? So I'm here, and I don't know how long that's going to be, but I'm enjoying every single day. I get to come to work, I don't have to.
I think what brought me to education primarily was my dad. He was an educator. He was my 8th grade English teacher, and he was a coach, and I just saw his love of the kids that he worked with and his commitment to really just growing young minds, and I knew that that is what I wanted to do in my career as well.
I have always wanted to be a teacher from very young age, just loved all of my teachers and my school experience, and like most girls that are teachers, play school at home and have their little classroom already set up. So I knew I always wanted to be a teacher. Once I got into the actual classes and teaching and in the classrooms through practicum and student teaching and my first teaching job, I just loved to lead. I loved to be a part of groups and always looking for the next thing to do. And that's when I chose the career path of educational leadership and was very fortunate to go through an amazing program at UNI that really prepared me for administration and being a leader in our schools, and the experiences I've had through all of my teaching positions and administrative positions, and then the last 11 years at Gilbert have just been amazing and just reaffirmed everything that I have always wanted to do.
What I really love about being a principal is I love, first off, the fact that every day is different. That's really exciting for me. You know, as a classroom teacher, you know, you have control over what your day looks like, and your day follows a pretty set schedule. Both as a school counselor and as a principal, that isn't the case. You come in with a to-do list, and you may get a few of those things done, and you may not. I think just being around the kids, I think, is something that any teacher should say that they love, and so I think that's an awesome part. I also like to sit back and make decisions about systems and systems thinking, and so I find that to be really interesting.
What does it feel like to see kids succeed? What that makes me think of is all the different ways that kids can succeed, and of course that is the team or an individual making it to state. Of course that is a student earning a grade in a class they wouldn't have earned a year ago, having that improvement. What we also get to see so much of, John and I, is the students succeed in little but really important ways that other people don't even know about. A student who maybe didn't want to take that class, but finished it out, did well, worked with the teacher, and succeeded in it. The student who struggles with attendance for exterior reasons outside of school, and has to fight some serious obstacles to be here each day and makes it to school 4 or 5 days in a week. Those are the successes that are amazing. And what's really fun about those is, you know, when a kid gets to feel that success, then they believe in themselves a little more than they did the day before, and they can taste that celebration and that success and know, okay, this is what I'm working for. It gives them hope and excitement for what's next.
I totally agree with you. I think for me, watching a kid smile when I smile at them is a success. And that's a little teeny thing, but just to pull that smile out of a kid, or a hello out of that kid, I think it's up to us to elicit that response in kids. There was a young lady who was terrified to do a speech a couple of weeks ago, and she invited a bunch of teachers to come up and watch her give this speech. And she did a phenomenal job. And afterwards I said, what were you thinking that you couldn't do this in front of your peers? You rocked this thing. Well, now she's doing speeches in front of the peers. So that's a big success story. Who likes to public speak? I mean, here we are doing this right now, right? We're having all kinds of fun because Troy's awesome.
Right, thank goodness.
You know, he makes us feel comfortable, but to have a kid step that ladder and to take that leap and then realize, oh my gosh, I can do it because someone believed I could.
I think right now, one of the bigger challenges facing education is that so much is put on schools, and so people look to schools to be the answer to a lot of things that maybe in past schools weren't necessarily responsible for. So it's no longer just, you know, the reading, writing, and arithmetic. There's so much more put onto that. I think sometimes schools, you know, to a certain extent, are used to further political careers, and we become a bit of a punching bag because we're an easy target, and we can't necessarily fight back. So I think that's hard. I think, you know, when you hear people, politicians or community leaders that are on the news and putting down what happens in schools, and I'm sure there are schools where, you know, that there are issues, you know, just like there are in any profession. But I think, you know, when you are giving all that you have and you see your teachers working so hard to make a difference, and you can see that it is working, and then you go on and you hear those things, I think it is a little demoralizing. I think that's hard. I think it's also hard just, you know, that we add things and we don't take things off. And so I think that adds a challenge too, is how can we get this little bit in? How can we get that little bit in? I don't have any more time to do it in the school day. I don't have any more time in the school year. So I think it's just trying to figure out how can we do more with the same. And I just think that's sometimes difficult to figure out.
Gilbert is such a special place, and for myself and those like me who have experienced school, whether it's teaching in a school or your kids in a school outside of Gilbert, I think you will definitely understand that this is a very special place. And when we say every student every day, it is everybody, to our kitchen, to our custodians, our office gals, and our teachers and support staff. And as administrators, you know, we sit in rooms and all of our decisions come back to what is best for our kids. And so I, as a parent, could not ask for any better or more for our own children. And I know that as a staff at Gilbert Schools, we treat your children as our own. And that is what is so special, how much your kids are loved and how much our staff gives every day so that your kids have a great experience here.
I've been very fortunate to work in 3 school districts who all had a great culture. But I would say working at Gilbert, we are definitely spoiled. I've always said that we are a public school with a private school feel. And the reason is parents choose to be here. They make efforts to make sure their kiddos are in the Gilbert School District. And I think because of that commitment, then we just have so much more support for our community. And I think that is, not every district is fortunate enough to have that. And when you have that parent and community support, you are able to, make changes, build buildings, add programming, provide opportunities for students that not every district has the ability to do that. And we are lucky, and I just would not trade it for anything.
Hey, Cindy Bassett, what's the worst job you've ever had?
Well, John Ronka, I would have to say the worst job I've ever had that comes to mind right now is, as a farm kid, taking care of and cleaning out chicken coops.
Ooh.
Terrible. Whatever you're doing, cleaning, dirty things or whatever, just remember, at least it's not taking care of chickens and cleaning out chicken coops.
Ew.
Right?
I wouldn't like that.
No.
Mine would have been, I worked in a cement factory when I was in high school and into my early years of college. We made prefab unit steps.
Wow.
We'd take out old steps, we'd put new steps
Okay.
in, but it was a long, hard, sloppy,
That would be.
messy day.
For me, that's easy. I worked at Meadow Gold Dairy in Perry, Iowa. The summer after I graduated high school, my parents wanted me to, my dad lined up a factory job for me, honestly because I don't think they thought I would last in college, and he wanted me to see what life would look like if I didn't. And so I worked basically at a popsicle factory. We made popsicles, we made ice cream treats, ice cream cones, and it was hands down the worst job I ever had. I used to lay in bed in the morning and wish I would be sick so I wouldn't have to go. I hated that job. It was horrible.
Well, it's kind of like one of my favorite jobs and worst job, but I was a lifeguard for many years, and I loved being a lifeguard mainly because I was by water, got to be in the sun, and I loved kids. The worst part of that job, though, was cleaning bathrooms, and I still to this day, I think because of that, maybe because of that, hate to clean bathrooms.
Detasseling, it was horrible. I did that one day in high school, and then, I didn't go back. God bless the people who can do that for an entire summer. But yeah, definitely detasseling.
What is my caffeinated beverage of choice? Diet Coke. Unless it's a fountain pop, then I like Diet Pepsi.
No question whatsoever, black, strong coffee, preferably Americano.
Yes.
I know what yours is, but go ahead and tell.
Mine, for the other people out there, is also strong black coffee. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every morning, every day.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I am a coffee drinker for sure. Typically, I will stop, get my cabin coffee at about 7:15 in the morning, and I drink coffee till about noon, and then I just switch to Coke Zero at that point. So, yeah, hopefully that counts as my water intake, but I doubt it.
Prior to becoming a principal, I never actually drank coffee. I didn't start drinking coffee until I became a principal, and now I really can't make it through a day without it. So I'd have to say coffee.
Would you rather be the funniest person in the room or the smartest person in the room? I feel like if I'm in the room, I probably come off funnier than smarter, but I definitely want to sound smarter. That's a goal.
Both have its advantages, but probably me funniest just because I like to laugh and have a good time.
I would really like to be the funniest person in the room. I think that would be something that pulls people in. The funniest person in the room is someone that everyone wants to be around and hang out with. And that's not me, and I wish it was. So if I could choose that, that's what I'd like to be.
That's an easy one, the funniest person in the room, because I've never been the smartest person in the room.
I actually highly doubt that. For this one, I have to say the opposite for a different reason. I know I'm never going to be the funniest person in the room. I'm not funny. I love to laugh.
She's funny.
And I love funny things, but I'm not the funny person. I just don't have that about me, and I love that I don't. So I have to pick, maybe hoping to be the smartest person in the room, but I'm not usually either. But I do love being around the funniest and smartest people in the room.
I think you are highly intelligent, and when you're in the room with me, you are the smartest person in the room.
So.
What time do I go to bed and what time do I wake up? My friends always make fun of me, even back in high school, but I am an early to bed person because I like to get up early. Or maybe it's not that I don't like to get up early, just because I went to bed early. But I go to bed pretty early and I'm up pretty early.
It drives my wife crazy because she's a late nighter and I'm an early nighter. So I'm usually, it's time to go to bed about 9:30, and she'll say, "Oh, I'm so tired," and she'll stay up till 11.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is, and I'm an early riser.
Yep.
I get here in the morning early.
Yep.
I like to get my email and all that stuff taken care of before anyone gets here. Put the coffee on from
Yes.
Cabin Coffee. Shout out to Paul.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know, it's always been that way.
I'm right there with you. I'm a morning person. I love the peaceful, quiet mornings, my cup of coffee while I get my email checked and things set for the day, or get kids' things ready in the morning before they're all up. I love those nice, quiet mornings.
Yeah.
Well, because of my wake-up time, my bedtime is pretty early. So I usually get up at my alarm goes off at 5:05 in the morning. So I'm an early riser. And so because of that, I'm usually heading to bed at about 9:30. And if I'm up when the news is on, that's a late night for me.
I am a night owl and not a morning person. That's why the coffee. So for me, my bedtime is usually around 11. Unless it's a weekend, it's a little bit later. And then I wake up about 6:15. That might not be when I get out of bed, but that's when I wake up.
Favorite movie of all time? I think when I was a kid, I remember the first time, and this is maybe a nerdy answer, but the first time I saw the movie Star Wars, and I was fascinated by it. I remember just being in awe of it. And if that's something that's on TV, that's a movie I'll always stop and watch. So that I guess I would say that's probably be my favorite movie of all time, because it's one that I'll watch anytime that it's on.
My favorite movie of all time. This is where my father's influence comes in. I would say The Godfather. I'm sure I watched it at an age much younger than I should have. But yeah, that's my favorite of all times.
Favorite movie of all time, movie/musical. I love The Sound of Music. One of my favorites.
Well, I'm going to rebel against the question. I think I'm going to go my favorite show of all time is Friends. My favorite show of all time is Friends. It's funny, the characters, there's a scene or a Friends quote for about everything.
I love that. You're absolutely right. I'm going to go off the cuff a little bit, and my favorite actor is on the back of my phone.
Yes.
Mr. Jack Nicholson.
Great one.
You can't handle the truth. A Few Good Men.
Oh,
remember that scene in the courtroom with Tom Cruise?
See, I have seen.
You can't handle the
Good Men.
truth.
That's
You
great.
rise and sleep above the very blanket of protection we Yeah, I could probably quote it,
Yeah,
but that's my favorite. Ooh, what's on your bucket list?
Oh, this is a fun one. There's tons of things on my bucket list, but something that comes to mind, and I hope my husband sees this, on my bucket list is for my husband and I to go to Europe together. I have gone and gotten to travel. We have not done anything like that together. And I would love for us to go to Europe and experience some destination in Europe together. I think
Love
that's
that.
such a wonderful, wonderful travel experience, and I would love to enjoy that with him.
You got that, Nick? All right.
Good job.
My bucket list, it was on my bucket list, so I'm going to say that an Alaskan cruise. I've never cruised before. And this coming summer, on July 23rd, my 2 kids and my wife are going on an Alaskan cruise. So that bucket list is going to be checked
Yes.
off, and it's right around the corner, and I'm really looking forward to that.
That's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know anymore, to be honest with you. I took a class in college and we had to write 25 things that we wanted to do before we died, so a bucket list. And that was really helpful for me because there was lots of things on there. When the opportunity presented itself, I did. And so don't ask me why, but one of the things I put on there I remember was I wanted to see the sunrise over the, or set over the Atlantic, the Pacific, and the Gulf of Mexico. And so, just on a whim once, we drove down and went to the Gulf with some friends and just a last minute road trip. So there's lots of things that I've had on there that I've actually crossed off, and I haven't sat back to probably ask myself, what would I add? I'm enjoying this phase of life, having kids in high school and getting ready to send one off to college. And so I think, just watching them go on and live their lives and be adults probably is what's on my bucket list. Although that sounds, I don't know, kind of lame. I probably need to think of that.
It's probably related to travel. I do like to travel. I can't always get my family to go with me, but I think definitely going to Italy or somewhere overseas and kind of seeing all the things that you read about and hear about in history would be something that I would love to do.
I don't have like a specific bucket list other than I just love to be around water and sun and the beach. So any places that have that, I will be there.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Very insightful. That's what I thought anyway. So I just want to say thank you to all of our principals. We have the most amazing group leading us every single day. Our kids are in good hands. Our staff is in good hands because of these leaders in front of us. You may not know this, but often they're the first one in the building. They're the ones there when the lights come on in the morning and the last one to go. And they do things beyond their job. They might be helping out at a football game or there for a basketball game, always going above and beyond. We have an incredible group of leaders, and I'm honored to work with them every single day. So thank you, leaders, for what you do. Keep up the great work. We honor you, we support you, we celebrate you. Happy National Principals Month.